Hi all, in this video we'll talk about storage stacking in Dune Awakening, show you how it's done and highlight what works and what doesn't, so let's get started. Currently there are 4 storage containers in the game, small containers, one simply called a chest, regular storage containers and medium storage containers. While there's no way to stack either of them directly on top of each other, in this video we'll focus on solutions for regular containers. That said, many of these tips can also be used in combination with all containers. Since we can't stack by default, optimizing space requires a building trick using select building pieces. Unfortunately, you can't use the floors and roofs from all building sets, but more on that after we show you how it's done and go through a few examples. Conceptually, it's super easy. We destroy our regular wall here, then replace it with 2 half-height walls from the building set of our choice. Next, we use a regular chome facility rooftop due to its thin profile. There are other pieces that work as shelves as well, both rooftops and floors, but not all. We'll go through the most common ones shortly. With the rooftop in place as a shelf, we can now place containers both below and on top of it. Just note that you must place the half-height shelf before placing regular containers below. It does not work the other way around. Also, if you want a shelf above the second row, you need to place that before putting any regular containers on the shelf below. Now onto an example. By using multiple half walls, you can create further storage rows. However, accessing anything above the second row will be cumbersome. Row 1 and 2 work fine, but unless we climb or use a suspension belt, we can't easily target the third row here. There is a small trick that works if you place the lowest container with its back facing the front, like this one here, with a metal plate and handle coming from below. If you approach it, jump, then press forward, you'll stand mid-air and can access the third row fairly easy. However, this won't work on the side with the container facing forward. Alternatively, instead of adding a third or fourth row with storage containers, you could also use the top layer for something else, water storage, generators or similar. You may also have noticed that with a left and right wall like here, a single foundation doesn't let us fit 3 containers across the width. We'll show you a double width example in a bit, which is a lot more efficient. If you connect the half wall only at the back instead of the sides, like this build example, you can get a super compact solution with up to 14 regular containers, plus top space for even more if desired. If you prefer a square corner layout, you can easily fit 10 containers in 2 rows and go higher if you like. This one actually uses Caladan Palace ceiling pieces as shelves, but as we have built it so compact, the inbuilt light they offer does not shine through. This building piece is part of the Ultimate Edition of the game, and we stand below it here. The ceiling has 9 small round lights. And the piece in the back is the observer floor that has a big circle light. It was part of a Twitch drop at launch that may or may not come back. Using either of them together with more spaced out or smaller storage containers can be very nice. You can also go for a rounded corner design and fit around 7 chests, like we have done here, including decoration space. Now let's look at the most common pieces that work. But before we do that and before we show more examples, yes, in case you're wondering, you can support us through our super thanks. A simple like, by subscribing, becoming a member or by commenting and sharing our videos to help others find us. We truly appreciate any and all support. While you can use almost any foundation and floor, not all pieces work as shelves, so some combinations can be more challenging. Let's talk through the most common pieces that work to create more than 2 shelf rows. The square chome facility rooftop allows for multiple storage rows without any issues. The chome facility rounded rooftop in combination with the inward piece to create a square works to create multiple shelves. However, the Atreides rounded rooftop and inward piece won't allow for further rows due to the design, as we can see. On the other hand, the Atreides rounded floor and inward piece do allow for multiple storage rows. Using a square Harkonnen floor as shelf, allows for storage container placement for one row in combination with a chom facility floor or foundation. The observer foundation and also a Harkonnen piece by using a trick we'll show after this. The same goes for the Harkonnen rooftop piece. Only one row can easily be achieved by using a chom facility floor or foundation, plus the observer foundation and a trick as just mentioned. Using a Harkonnen rounded roof works, though unlike most other sets, if you complete it with an inward piece, that piece does block further storage rows. The same applies when it comes to the Harkonnen rounded floor. The Caladan Palace ceiling is very flexible, though you will only have this piece if you purchase the Ultimate Edition of the game. And lastly, the observer floor switch drop, even if it might not look like it. Hopefully the drop will return at one point. To expand on what we just explained, here's an example that mostly uses the trickier Harkonnen set to create 2 rows of containers recessed within a double-length wall. It looks great, and since we don't need a wall between, we can fit 12 containers. Let us show you what we did. So here we have a Harkonnen foundation and a square rooftop on the top. Now we can place a square piece in the middle. However, as you will see, that would not allow for the placement of storage containers. We get the message placement blocked by another object below as well as above that shelf piece. Let's instead use the rounded rooftop and the matching inward rooftop as to create a square. In the case of the Harkonnen set, you can also use the rounded floor pieces to achieve the same. Now, while this should have worked, we are still seeing the same error message. But a larger area now also allows placement of this container. What has happened here is that the design of the smaller inward piece has a slightly larger border even if it's not visible to us. However, as you saw, placement below the larger rounded piece worked, so with that in mind, let's turn it around. Place the smaller piece towards the back corner, then fill the larger gap with the larger rounded piece. This finally solves the challenge with our storage container placement for this Harkonnen solution. We are now able to place a full row of storage containers in the front below and above the shelf we have created. Do note that if you don't have anything in the back, like here, the smaller rounded piece is technically not required at all. It works with the larger one alone. So what's up with our right side? Well, here we have a chom facility floor. But why? This piece is a millimeter more recessed, so by using that we can actually use a regular square Harkonnen piece as our shelf. No placement issues at all. By the way, should you have unlocked the Observer Foundation switch drop, you can also use that one as an alternative to the chom facility floor or foundation. However, this will now cause an issue with storage containers on the top shelf, at least if we use another regular square piece like on the left side. As you can see, we are again seeing the message about placement being blocked by another object. The solution? Like on the left side, what will work is if we use one of the regular and inward rounded pieces. We are now able to place containers on our shelf like before. Our eye measurement failed a bit here. We typically like to start from left, but with the wall being on the right side and yeah, anyway. This is how you can do a double width recessed storage wall, which allows for 6 containers per row. Now let's take a peek behind our recessed wall. Chest stacking like this does leave a lot of lost space. If your base design allows it, you could just add chests in the gap here as part of the layout. Though as you might recall, the smaller inward rounded piece sadly blocks certain placements, something we've not been able to solve using the Harkonnen set. With access to both sides in mind, imagine this setup in the middle of a room. Doing that, you can for instance fit 24 storage containers of this size, 12 on each side, and even more if you build higher using the simple trick with rounded pieces. This will easily impress visitors, and if you don't mind just having 2 storage container rows without space above, you can also pull this off by using the Harkonnen set and rounded pieces as your ground floor, then a regular square piece as your shelf. And if you drop the last half wall on either side, you could technically even squeeze in another container on each side between the rows. Now to wrap up, this can all be very confusing. The Chom facility set is easiest when it comes to building stacked storage solutions. And if you have the Caladan pallet set or observer pieces from the Twitch drop, then those are uncomplicated as well. But as explained, you can generally use some simple tricks to keep your base fully Harkonnen or Atreides styled. It just requires some workarounds. And that's all we have for chest stacking. We hope our guide can help you, and as always, if you like to see more content from us and want to support our channel, please consider giving us a thumbs up, subscribe or become a member of our channel.